creative process, achieving purposeful change. This section looks at purposeful change and how the planning facilitator can enable a group achieve measurable outcomes. Change happens in two ways. The first is caused by external factors over which you have no control. These are change situations in which we are thrust and can only react to. The other type of change is when we decide to create it. It is the process of taking actions towards creating something different. While there is no one fixed methodology for creating positive change, a systematic framework is: analyze the situation, visualize a desired future, plan to achieve the desired future state, implement the plan, monitor and evaluate what happened. This section looks at activities that a planning facilitator can organize for a group to do at each of these parts of the cycle. Starting with analysis, techniques that might be used include the following: history wall, physical mapping, skills audit, cultural and activity mapping, performance ranking, calendars, and relationship modelling. A great way to start a group looking at what is going on is to get them to look at what has happened in the past. A history wall achieves two things. It allows relative newcomers to see that there is a history to the organisation or neighbourhood, and the older ones to have the opportunity to display their knowledge. This technique is also useful when there has been a history of different attempts around a subject, for it allows everyone to gain a clearer understanding of what went on in the past, leading to the situation in the present. Another technique is physical mapping. If there is a plan of the neighbourhood, school or community already available, these can be printed off and participants asked to put red or green sticker dots to indicate the areas they do or do not like, or that are important to them. The process enables discussions around the different views of the participants, or else demonstrates that there is one area that has an effect on all participants, either positive or negative. Another form of analysis might be to ask group members to think back on all the jobs that they have had and the skills that they have. The purpose of such a skills audit being to enable the participants realise the collective skills that they have, this often achieving positive self-views and self-awareness. When working in a particular community, it is often useful for there to be an understanding of the different subgroups that make up the neighbourhood. Using Venn diagrams, the group can develop a map of the relationships between each subgroup. This process usually instigating conversations between group members as they negotiate their own perspectives of their community or project. Another way for a group to explore their common understanding is in performance ranking. In this, the group are requested to grade items in a category against common performance indicators. These might be quality of service delivery, or fitness for purpose, or market performance. The process of ranking the various items being to enable the group collectively have a greater understanding of the information that they already individually know, though do not have the opportunity to see it collectively. Another useful tool in particular situations is calendars. By asking a group to indicate frequency of events against time charts, such as monthly or daily calendars, it enables a group to see seasonal patterns of events. A final but powerful technique for relationship modelling, if the skills are available, is to use applied theatre. This is a great medium for group members to explore relationships between stakeholders, this often bringing up fundamental communication issues that are not readily apparent to the group. To summarise, an essential element of purposeful change is analysis, for which there are a variety of tools to enable a group to pool their individual knowledge. The next step in the process of purposeful change is visioning. The result of successful planning is to achieve something. There are a number of ways to assist a group create a shared vision. These include guided visualizations, painting and collage, creative writing. A guided visualization asks the participants to imagine a time in the future and that everything the group was working on so hard to achieve has actually happened. After the guided visualization, the group develops a common vision through an iterative process. A different technique that can stimulate the right side of the brain is to ask the group to present their vision pictorially. This can be with either markers or pictures pre-cut out from magazines. Providing the pictures already cut out enables participants to select them without preconception. Creating a visual image is extremely powerful, and most groups really enjoy it. Creativity in writing can be promoted through simple exercises and techniques, an example being an alphabet template. For many occasions, though, the card storming process allows diverse ideas to be brought together to form a common vision. But whatever the method, groups are usually immensely pleased with having the chance to articulate in some concrete manner a common vision that they can work towards achieving together. To sum up, it's necessary to have a vision that group participants can plan to work towards achieving. There are a variety of techniques that allow all group members to contribute towards collectively stating some common goals or visions. The next stage in the process of purposeful change is planning to achieve the vision. The word planning, though, encompasses two quite separate aspects of any project. There is operational planning, which is how a project will be achieved, and strategic planning, which is why a project should be funded and progressed in the first place. Looking at strategic planning first, most people find it difficult to understand the difference between the various strategic planning stages, but through asking the right questions, it is possible for any group to develop a logical rationale for their project. After the group has identified its visions or desired outcomes from the previous exercise, whatever those might be, the planning facilitator should ask the question, what are the blockages to achieving this goal? And using normal group processes to identify the critical issues. Once these critical issues or blockages have been identified, they can be turned from a negative into a positive and thus become strategies. Now, this has occurred without mentioning the word strategy. The next step is to ask the group to develop concrete, real projects, structures or events that either overcome the blockage or will use the strategy to achieve the desired outcome. Again, normal group processes should be used to ensure the most acceptable decision. This simple process enables a group to develop a logical rationale that links abstract goals and visions to concrete projects. It forms the basis of a business plan or log frame. The second part of planning is developing a process of how to implement a project and achieve real outputs. By asking the group to look at all the steps that are required to make the agreed event, product or program actually happen, the group is able to develop a plan of action with key milestone dates. The plan of action can be placed on a calendar and gradually built up to include all parameters. A further question would be to ask the group to complete who, what, when cards, which start demanding individual ownership of actions. With complex projects, there might be a number of different outputs, all requiring individual team members' input. It is at this point that for every card that has an action identified to be carried out by someone not in the room, the planning facilitator should request an additional card to precede it with the name of somebody present on it to be responsible for chasing it. In this way, complex projects with a variety of interlocking milestones and deadlines can be developed by a group as a whole, with each having an input into what actions they are to be responsible for. By asking the group a sequential set of questions enables them to develop effective and robust rationales and action plans. Whilst it is the responsibility of the group to undertake the actions required to implement the plan, it is often useful at this planning stage for the group to consider monitoring and evaluation systems for use later on. By returning to the desired outcomes and asking the question, what would you see, feel, or hear if this outcome was achieved? A series of simple monitoring and evaluation tools can be incorporated into the plan. Thus, at a later date, when it comes to evaluate the project, the results of the indicators can be considered by the group alongside the generic evaluative questions: what worked, what didn't work, what might work in the future. These steps for purposeful change are applicable for projects of all scales and with any number of people. The role of the planning facilitator being to provide the optimum process for the group as a whole to achieve successful results.